Idaho Matters podcast is brought to you by St. Luke's On-Demand Virtual Care, which allows patients to see a provider from their home using a computer or smartphone with on-demand care for common ailments, such as a cough, sore throat, or a sinus issue. More information at stlukesonline.org. From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Gemma Gaudet. This is Idaho Matters. Informed and civil dialogue. That was the message of Idaho Senator Mike Crapo as he spoke to a room full of people in Boise.
Because I think that one of the things that Americans from east to west feel is lacking in our political system and in the dialogue that we hold today all too often is a note of civility. And I believe that you can certainly have strong disagreements and stand toe-to-toe and hash out your differences on political philosophy or on a particular issue without losing the civility.
That was audio from the City Club of Boise's first forum, all the way back in April of 1995, when Crapo was the very first guest speaker. And at that time, he was talking about the first 100 days as the 104th Congress. Well, since then, the City Club has spent the last 30 years bringing people together to start talking as well as listening. Now, the club gathers 12 to 18 times a year, usually over lunch, to talk about everything, including growth, the Endangered Species Act, politics and economics, healthcare, the environment, art and history, and so much more. Boise State Public Radio airs each and every forum, and you can find them on our website at boisestatepublicradio.org. And they're now also being digitized and archived at Special Collections and Archives at Boise State University. Now, the City Club is celebrating its 30th anniversary with a party next Wednesday on the Bass Block in downtown Boise. So here to tell us more are Dr. Vanessa Fry, City Club's current board president, and C. Slojek, the second president of City Club. I want to thank both of you for joining us today.
Thanks, Gemma.
Thank you, Gemma.
So, Vanessa, let me start with you. Remind everyone what City Club is, because some folks may not know what it is.
Thanks, Gemma, for that question. Our motto at City Club is that things happen when people start talking and listening. And so, as then Representative Crapo mentioned, we like to bring people together to have conversations about challenging issues, but do it in a civil way, really supporting civil discourse. And we do that through a number of ways, including hosting lunchtime forums throughout the year. And then we also do evening activities that we call TSA events.
Vanessa, what would you say is the main goal behind City Club?
Yeah, Gemma, we really believe in civil discourse and again, as Representative Crapo mentioned, bringing people together is the best way for us to get there rather than being divided on different sides of the aisles. You know, how do we get together and have really civil conversations about challenging issues facing Idahoans and beyond today or 30 years ago? And so we do that, like I said, during lunchtime forums or sometimes smaller salons and after hours where we get together maybe over a glass of wine and beer and talk about what's going on at the Idaho State House.
So, Vanessa, can anybody join City Club? How does that work?
Yes, please. Anyone can join CEAS and I, and hopefully you, Gemma, in becoming a member of City Club. We have student members and professional members, and we really welcome all to join us.
So, CEAS, let me bring you to the
special
conversation.
For our anniversary. $30.
So when is that?
For the first year.
$30. Oh, I love it. Okay, so CEAS, my understanding is that you have been involved with City Club since the inception. So take us back to 30 years ago and how City Club came to be.
I was not on a part of the very first group of amazing Boiseans who pulled it together, but Dottie Stimson was the lead and a number of very active in the community people, male, female, all kinds of professions got together and decided that Boise was ready for some kind of a venue where difficult topics could be discussed openly and be discussed civilly. And that was really the big thing. And obviously the push for membership was big, and we invite everybody. Even if we're not able to contact you, we would love you to contact us because we don't turn anybody away. And we
And
were
see,
lucky
so
that we had people that were active in the political structure of the state. So then Representative Crapo was our first speaker. So that was really great.
and see, so if you could talk a little bit about the history of City Club and how it's evolved over these last 30 years to give people some perspective on really, I mean, it was almost like a grassroots organization, and it is so much bigger than that now.
It was in the beginning and still is a working board of directors. They pull together the forums, they find the speakers, and still do that. We are lucky to have a really great support staff, which actually we did not have 30 years ago. But that's a good thing to see because I think we're a little bit more polished than we used to be. But our forums have always been aimed at being civil no matter what the topic. So no one ever has to be uncomfortable about coming and speaking at a forum for City Club because we demand civility. And we allow questions, but they're in written format. Nobody gets booed, nobody gets heckled. We want people to tell their side of whatever the story is for that forum. And that hasn't
See, so
changed
why
over the years. So I guess we
I
haven't
was going
changed
to
a
say,
whole lot. We're just better at what we do.
so I was going to ask you, why is it important to do the format that you do? I mean, I have to say, I've been a panelist on City Club before, and I have followed the lead when when actually I MC other events where I like written questions because I do think there's something in that that allows people to maybe ask a question that they wouldn't necessarily be comfortable asking, but it also doesn't devolve into arguments.
Yeah, we at each of the forums that we have a number of panelists, and we also have a moderator. And so those questions go to the moderator, and he or she has the challenging task of looking at those questions, and maybe rewarding them in a more polite way. That I've had to do that as a moderator in the past, and making sure those questions get asked, but in a way that's respectful and a way that really kind of gets to the bottom of things. And our panelists are very open, and really, I think we have really interesting conversations that we wouldn't have had if we didn't allow the audience to participate in that way.
I want to play another clip really quick from the first City Club 30 years ago. And this is then Representative Crapo. And he was asked about the prospects for an Idaho wilderness bill. So here's part of his answer.
But I get back to one point which I've said at every time the wilderness issue has come up. And that is, I believe that Idahoans should decide the Idaho wilderness issue. And that means that we've got to give it time for people to come together in the civil dialogues of the nature that you have here in this club, where we bring groups from different interests together and have them work out their differences as best as possible. Now, I'm not so Pollyannish that I think that that's going to work perfectly, and there will come a time, if we can make significant progress, when it may be required for the congressional delegation to make some calls and draw some lines and make some distinctions. But if we can't get to the point where we have a majority of the people in the state of Idaho who, A, feel that they have seriously been a part of the process, to the point that they can take ownership in what comes out of it, and B, are satisfied with what has come out of the process, to the point where they feel that although they may not have received everything they had hoped, that they were heard and that their particular point of view was represented in the outcome, then I think we'll have the same result in our wilderness bills that we've had for the last 20 years, and that is we'll get a bill on the table that won't have public support in Idaho. We've got to take the time and make the effort to get that public support, and I'm still committed to trying to work through that process.
Again, that was then Representative Mike Crapo speaking at the very first City Club forum back in April of 1995. Vanessa and Cease, I'm going to put both of you on the spot real quick. And Vanessa, I'm going to start with you. Some of your favorite guests. Is there one panelist that stands out to you, or maybe a couple?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. I kind of get emotional listening to Mike Crapo speak 30 years ago and what we've been able to accomplish since then, and just
Yeah.
his eloquent statement about enabling Idahoans to be part of the process. So I think that I'm trying to pull myself together because I do think that that really rings true to what we want as Idahoans today. We had a really interesting forum during Idaho Gives Week this year where we talked about the state of philanthropy in Idaho. I thought that was really interesting, digging into the level of generosity we have and how we can be more generous and kind of with all topics, whether it's environmental issues or social issues in the state. I think that was a really great forum. I don't know, I'm going to pitch to Cease and I'll think of another one.
I'll tell you the two that come to my mind is somehow we were able to score a forum presented to us by Sister Prujong, who wrote Dead Man Walking and was an advocate for stopping the death penalty. And she was about as inspirational as any speaker that you could ever imagine. And I honestly don't know how the Forums Committee got her, but somebody knew somebody who knew somebody. So that was really wonderful. Additionally, on our 10th anniversary celebration, one of our board members was able to convince a relative of the commissioner of baseball to come and speak to us because that relative lived here in Boise, and we had the commissioner of baseball come for that afternoon forum. And we had people from all over the Treasure Valley, especially the guys. They just left their ranches and left their jobs and came to hear the commissioner of baseball. So that was pretty exciting as well. Those are my
Vanessa,
two. Yeah.
Vanessa, why do you think City Club still remains so important 30 years later?
Yeah, it's after we sat down with the Boise State Archive and realized we had the opportunity to digitize conversations from 30 years ago. Some of the questions that we're trying to answer today are perennial, right? The wilderness issue is still on the table. Healthcare in Idaho is still something we talk about. Education, right? And how do we educate the youth in our state? Economic development. So these conversations, I think, are important to keep having, and recognizing that change happens over time. So the conversations we're having about wilderness today are different than the ones we had 30 years ago, right? Things have happened, right? We had collaboration come together and the Boulder White Clouds happened. And that was multi-partisan, rural and urban, and people from across the state. And wow, what a success for Idaho. And that was really, Idahoans were supporting it. And so I think continue to have these really important conversations and empowering the people here in the state to be a part of these big decisions. It's going to keep, problems are going to keep being on the table, and issues are going to keep needing to be solved. And City Club's happy to host a place for us to talk about it.
And see, similar question to you, especially in this day and age, why does City Club still matter so much?
Probably matters more than it ever has, because we are obviously having significant problems sitting down and having civil conversations with each other. And if we can model some of that here in Boise, Idaho at a City Club forum, then I think that makes the world a better place, because right now I don't think we're very civil.
So Vanessa, we've got about a little bit under 2 minutes. So I want to talk a little bit next about the big anniversary party. So give folks the information about when and where.
Right. So it's coming up next week. So we're celebrating our 30th anniversary with a block party on the Basque Block. That's going to be Wednesday, September 10th, 5:30 to 8 p.m. It's free. Anyone can come. We will be having food and drinks available for purchase. We're going to have live music from the River City Rounders. And get this, Gemma, we're going to have a square dance from 6 to 7. Right. So put your dancing boots on and come join us on the Basque Block next Wednesday.
And Vanessa, when is the next City Club, and what's it going to be about?
Right. So the next City Club is on the 30th of September. So that's at the end of the month. That's a lunchtime forum. And the topic is ballot initiatives in Idaho, past, present, and future. And that's going to be held at the Idaho State Museum. And Gemma, for both of those events, you can go online and register. So the lunchtime forum is, there's a fee to that. So you can go on and register for that, but you can also register to come and join us on the Basque Block, so we can make sure we have enough food and drink available for purchase for everyone. We're expecting a really fun party, and that's at cityclubofboise.org, where people can go and register.
Well, I want to thank both of you so much for taking time to talk with us. What an important institution that City Club is. So thank you for giving us an inside look at that. We've been speaking with Dr. Vanessa Fry. She is City Club's current board president, along with Cease Lojek. She is the second president of the City Club, talking about their 30th anniversary. And as we mentioned, they're holding a big anniversary party next week, September 10th, on the Bass Block in Boise. We'll, of course, put links to past City Club forums and the digital archive on our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. You've been listening to Idaho Matters from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Gemma Gaudet.